So it's important I've got goals, but I think it's also important to appreciate the journey back, not to rush it, respect patience. And to be honest, just to get out and walk after an operation like this, for me, is going to be a privilege. So I think it's important to have long-term goals, but accept that you might not get to those goals and there'll be other things. And it's all part of a journey and being more resilient.
Hello, this is Michael George of Sanchez Healthcare Consulting, and we're back with the patient vlog with Brendan Rendall, our ultra-running legend. Brendan, welcome back to the podcast. Good morning. Now, this afternoon, you're going into hospital for your surgery tomorrow. So the question is, how are you feeling now?
I've been on the Peloton this morning on my bike for 20 minutes, but very gentle because I'm obviously very aware. So just to get the legs going, and I've been outside for my walk with my dog. My family are here. I had half term last week, so every day I've had friends coming. At the weekend, we've had a university reunion, so friends after seeing some of them not for 15 years. So I feel like I've had a lovely week going in. I feel really relaxed. I think because I only found out in March, it's all been quite short. As much as it was being quite daunting and a shock, I think that's helped it be so fast. So this morning I'm feeling actually at the moment really relaxed. And I realise I've got to go through this to go back to what I love. So that's what I keep saying. It's just a process.
So actually you're doing all your exercise or your socialising before, because it's not going to be quite like that afterwards, is it?
No, it's going to be, I spoke to such a range of people now, young and old, very active people that not so, and I really appreciate and understand that it's going to be a journey back to health. And even if I have a one day where I can walk maybe in a few weeks and maybe a mile or two, to then the next few days do less and rest, don't get carried away, because it's going to be a long road, and my goal is to get back to running, and I don't want to rush it. So you're going into hospital this afternoon. What have you been told to expect about the time you're in there? What do you expect? What time in intensive care? When do you expect to be back home? Yeah, so I'm going to Wythenshawe, which is South Manchester, and we went in a few Fridays ago, and they give you a huge booklet, and I met the physios, met the nurses, and I think their communication and what to expect is being outstanding. So all I know is that at 2:00 this afternoon, I will get a phone call to say that my bed's ready. I will go down and prep for the operation tomorrow. I think they will take some bloods, maybe put the cannula in, but it's just sort of ease in. And then tomorrow I will have the operation. I know all about the tubes going in different ways, what to expect. Obviously, in all the drainage and the catheter and all of those things. I then be in intensive care for 1 to 2 days. Obviously, more people do vary, but obviously, if you recover quickly, you'll come out. So you at least 2 days. And then everyone, again, we're all on a different journey, but it ranges from some people leave hospital in 5 days, depending on if you've got support at home, which is obviously essential, and you're obviously walking with the physios. And then it can be up to 7-8 days, which I think is more the average for people. But some people, obviously, if things don't go to plan, it can be longer. So I've got to just treat each day as it comes.
Exactly. So you looked into the detail, which is great. You really prepared yourself.
Yeah.
You also had a big decision to make about what valve you were going to have. Either it's going to be a mechanical valve or a tissue valve. Tell me more about, I think when we spoke, you were going to have that discussion the next day. So how did that discussion go? What did you decide?
Well, I just had a discussion with my surgeon, and it was really useful because obviously the mechanical and the tissue have the pros and the cons. So with your mechanical valve, you've got a mechanical valve that will probably last for long, for life. So then you don't have to worry about another operation, whatever that might look like.
Yeah.
But the downside to mechanical would be maybe the medication for life, the blood managing, and all of that. And then the tissue valve, that can last anything from 10 to 25 to 20 to 25 years. Yeah. But then you'll have to have maybe another operation. But that means you'll have no medication and no blood management.
Yeah.
If you do have the repeat, how I understand it is that they might be able to do, I think it's called a TAVI. Is that right?
TAVI, that's correct. A transcatheter, it's a minimally invasive treatment. That's correct.
So to go into the groin. So that's the two things that I was offered. So you obviously, got the pros and the cons. I think that everyone has to look at their lifestyle. I don't think it's necessarily age. I think it's lifestyle and what you want. So if I was someone that didn't want to go back to doing maybe some cycles and running abroad, then I think I probably might lean to the mechanical. And have the blood management just become part of your life. But because I would potentially want to go and maybe run in Africa again, cycle, I think, how would I take all the warfarin if I was to fall off my bike with a blood thinner? How am I going to manage that? So I made the decision on my lifestyle, and I felt that the tissue one for my lifestyle is the best suited. And I felt that even if it lasted 10 years, I will deal with that in 10 years. I still got, I'm 47. I've got another 10 years of running adventures. So I thought, let's enjoy that and deal with the next. And technology's changing and procedures change. Absolutely. So that was my decision.
No, it sounds like the right decision for you because of your active lifestyle and what you want to go through. So and you went through all that process, and how much time did you spend discussing that? The number of people you went into in depth, didn't you? Really?
Yeah, I think was really important for me was to reach out to a range of people that are sort of more active, because they could then tell me, the pros and cons. And then I think what's been really great through this whole, no one is even family and the experts and the people I've spoken to, no one's really given their opinion. They put it all in front of me, the pros and cons, and let me, the patient, decide, which I think is essential. So But speaking to a lot of people has really helped, because I think that everyone gives different angles, and then you can just collate it and then come up with your own.
I think this is important. The message we try and get through the podcast is speak to people, find out about it, because then you might make the right decision for you. So that's key. So,
and I think this is one of the positives, because everyone sort of has a negative sometimes of social media, but this is the positive sides, because people have reached out that have been either following me on Instagram or connections have put me in touch with someone. And you sort of, and it's nice speaking to people that have gone through it, because as much as you can speak to friends, family, no one really knows it until that person's done it.
Absolutely, which is why we're speaking to you, so others can see your story. So you're going to have the procedure tomorrow, and then you're going to spend a week or so in hospital. When you come back, you won't be that active. So what are you planning for when you get back? What support do you have so you can be looked after during that period?
Yeah, I have family here. So I've got full support when I'm here. I'm very, very fortunate to live at a place called Salford Quays. So I go out of the garden and there's exactly a square of water with benches all the way round. So I can use those as goalposts. So I think that's really important to get out. I met up with a guy last week that's just come back from Europe cycling. He had it done 6 years ago. And I think what he gave me some really good useful information is if I go out one day and run in a couple of weeks' time, and I feel really good, come back and then take a few days doing less, because it will just potentially set you back. So I think the key is being patient. I've got so many friends on the street. This is another positive that I try and focus on. The street that I live on, we all sort of say, people better than others. City living, you say hi to some people. But even the people I just say hi to, they say, do you need friends walking? Do you need help walking the dog? Do you need this? And so it's a real community feel. So I feel that I'm overwhelmed with support. I'm not, there's so many people that come over for the afternoon. And I think that's what's keeping me maybe lifted, that I'm fortunate to have such a good network of friends.
Fantastic. And
looking Wimbledon's on, so it's the first time I've ever to watch 2 full weeks of it.
You'll be able to sit and just gorge in front of the television. Yes, it's a great idea. Fantastic. And of course, looking much further ahead, you've set yourself a goal. Let's just remind people of the goal you've set concerning your running.
Yeah. Well, before I discovered this, I was trying to run faster again. And my goal was to try and break the 3 hours for the marathon, which kind of is the missing fit. Like I've got the 10K, the half that indicates I can do it, the 20 mile that indicate. So before this happened, that's something that I want to break. It's the 3 hours for the marathon. I think I found some research that someone with a heart valve replacement, I think the world record's 3 hours 6, but it's not about a world record or, but that is a goal. So that's one. And my next sort of bigger challenge, because I've got back into running after some time out, and I've done 5 to 6 big ones in the past, is I really want to run the coastline of the UK. And the funny thing is, being sort of dealt with the news I've dealt over the last 3 months, and it could have been more serious if you were on your own running somewhere.
Yeah,
I think it's really ignited that flame of living in the moment and grabbing every opportunity. And if I can run the coastline of the UK, okay, it might not be a marathon day because we don't know what's going to happen. Even if I cover 5 miles, it takes longer, I'll get there. So it's important I've got goals, but I think it's also important to appreciate the journey back, not to rush it, respect patience. And to be honest, just to get out and walk after an operation like this, for me, is going to be a privilege. So I think it's important to have long-term goals, but accept that you might not get to those goals and there'll be other things. And it's all part of a journey and being more resilient.
Yeah, well, we'll certainly talk to you after you achieve the long-term goal, but we'll also speak to you when you start achieving your short-term goals of just getting home and walking. So when you're ready, Brendan, we'd love to speak to you again. Just let us know. And thank you for the time you've given to us, and good luck today and tomorrow and for the following week.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks, Brendan. Right, excellent. Thank you. So that brings us to the end of this edition of the Patient Vlog. We're with Brendan on his experiences of the next few days. And please remember to take good care of your health.